So it's not the first time I make one of these, but this time I think it's much more refined. It's, let's say, optimal. And the idea was to visualize oscilloscope music on it. I already have my cathode ray oscilloscope for that, but I really wanted a CRT TV for it. The heart of the system is this driver. This driver is made with two TDA 2030A regular audio power amplifiers power chips, and these drive the yoke for the deflection, both the horizontal and the vertical. But there's a catch, because the yoke must be driven current-wise, not voltage-wise. So when the voltage increases from the source, the current must increase on the yoke, not the voltage. So when the frequency increases of the signal, the voltage swing must also increase on the yoke, like a regular inductor, because this way you'll have a linear deflection and you'll make nice figures with it. And that's how you basically do this trick for this type of vector scope. Anyways, the original circuit of the TDA hasn't been used. I used another type of circuit for this type of XY scope or thing. The original yoke has been completely rewound, both the horizontal and the vertical. For the horizontal, I made like 50 plus 50 turns of thin wire wound over a 9 centimeters pipe and gave them this shape of the horseshoe coil like this. This is the original. I tried to take away turns from these, but it's impossible because this is one piece all glued, the wire stripped, impossible to modify, so I made from scratch the coils for the horizontal. And it's easier to make this thing than to talk about. It's quite easy at the end. For the vertical instead, I made like 35 plus 35 turns of thicker wire, and the two coils came up to be at the end kinda similar in inductance, and this is kinda important. And the vertical coil has the two windings in anti-series, while if I remember correctly, the two horizontal coils are in anti-parallel. This is important because otherwise you'll not deflect the electron beam. In fact, you have to try experimentally, not only for the inductance to come up with the correct inductance reduced, but also if it deflects with the correct wiring, because you have to apply like alpha 1 amp and see if it deflects correctly. The TV has been completely gutted. There is no original circuit anymore, also on the neck of the CRT, and instead I have here my trusty high voltage power supply here. There is a MOSFET flyback driver that runs at like 20 kHz, so it's also silent kinda. And there is a DC flyback with its handy focus and screen outputs, not only the high voltage output for the HT. There is no suction cap, as you can see, but who cares? And this thing is really low power. The duty cycle knob is at minimum, and this thing produces like 5-6 kilovolts, probably, maybe not even that, I don't know, because this vector scope doesn't need real power, because it's just faint lines on the screen. And the neck of the CRT has been modified this way, with a tap on the screen connection here with the two resistors of 10 megs each, and the middle of this voltage divider goes to two of the free electron guns, the cathodes, to disable them, and the red electron gun is instead grounded through this resistor, so you have just one electron gun to not have multiple dots on the screen. And there is also this small transformer here that outputs like 6.3 volts for the filament of the electron gun of the tube here, and basically almost all CRTs have the filament running at 6.3 volts. So what were the difficulties, the problems that I encountered making this system here? Okay, they were many. Okay, first of all, I was right about a thing. There was an interaction between the two coils, the vertical and horizontal, and they were acting like a transformer with a primary and secondary. And to disable this loop, because it made a self-oscillation, to open this loop of self-oscillation, I put some ferrites here, here, and here on the supply and input of the drivers to isolate the two drivers from high frequencies that were mostly audio high frequencies, and this solved the part of the problem. Another thing was that I couldn't use a butcher rod cell, a snubber, like this one here, this is disabled, because the butcher rod cell worsen the situation apparently. You have to make this thing all resistive without capacitors, because capacitors just worsen the situation and makes the figures all shitty. And another thing, I had to put all these resistors here on the output of the driver, on the yoke, because I have to make the yoke more resistive and less inductive, just slightly, because apparently without these there is some ringing at high frequencies, and this ringing is visible when there is a fast change on the movement of the cursor of the electron beam, and it makes some waves, and I hate it. And I couldn't solve this problem completely, but it was mostly gone. As source, I'm using a smartphone here. This smartphone has a jack output for earphones, headphones, and you may think, wow, this guy has a smartphone with a jack output. I'm so envious. Yeah, I know, I'm a lucky guy. Anyways, in the smartphone there is an app installed that is called AIMP, just for playing the tracks. And you have to select a specific codec in the app that is called OpenSL. If you select another codec, it will distort the figures on your vector scope and system. I don't know why. It will probably sound exactly the same, but as video it's not okay. Anyways, these smartphones, like other smartphones, are DC capable on the output. Yes, it's true. So basically this whole system can visualize DC levels with a deflection that stays still on a side of the screen without going automatically on the center, and this is very good. I tried also with my PC to connect the system to the PC and have an higher bandwidth, but apparently the PC distorts the video. I don't know why. And also it's not DC capable, because you can try to modify your main board on the PC and take out the electrolytic capacitors and let it output DC, but there is an high pass filter in the audio chip with a digital system that cuts the lower frequencies below 20 Hz, and it's impossible to output DC with a PC apparently. And here's the schematic of just the driver. That is the important part. The rest is up to your interpretation, probably like the high voltage supply or neck mod, I don't know. Anyways, here it is. Okay, let's try this thing. Filament on, here, high voltage on, here, driver on, here, and lights out. And you have, okay, first track, dots to see the DC effect, the DC capability. Okay, let's turn on also the audio amplifier. Nothing impressive, but as you can see, it follows the DC level. Okay, let's skip forward. Too much exposure. Okay. Okay, next track, asteroids. Pretty cool. Okay, let's skip to the end, or kinda. Too much volume. There are people sleeping. Okay, you got the idea. Okay. Okay, the famous track now, Shrooms. This is the start. Let's skip forward. The butterflies. Okay. Here comes the mayhem, I suppose. I don't remember exactly. Nope. Nice. Okay, end of the track. This is quite beautiful. And okay. Okay, other tracks. This is Deconstruct. Some mystic figures. This is trippy. I swear I don't do drugs. Actually. Very nice. This album is a compilation of incredible figures, graphic figures. That's very nice. Okay. Okay, now Reconstruct. This is an actual electronic circuit with a tube. I recognize a double diode. Okay, this is very cool. Anything is cool in this album. What a symbol. What another symbol. Okay. Okay, blocks. The geometry of this XY scope is not exactly perfect. I'm not a master at winding yokes. But okay. The vertical the deflection coil can still move by hand. It's not glued, but who cares, honestly? Yeah, the figures don't fill up the screen, or almost never. Let's say never, but the problem is that the more you push the volume from the smartphone using maybe another smartphone, because this one is already at maximum. Yes, it is. Yep. And the more this thing goes crazy a bit, especially at high frequencies. I should have wound the yokes with more inductance, probably, but enough of this thing. It's good enough. Okay, this fill up the screen, kinda. '3D effect. Okay, another artist. This is called Dancer, the track. I don't remember the artist. I'm so sorry. This is cool. This majestic robot. This thing, this track has some sort of story. An helicopter. And various objects. Okay, another track. This is called Snub Fighter. Yes. Sadly, it's a bit low in details. You need a really high bandwidth. It's also some sort of music. And down it goes. And it restarts. Okay. And bonus track for your amusement. Look at this. Don't look at this. Look at this. Don't look at this. Don't look at this. So, thank you for having watched my video, and as always, if there are updates for this project, you'll find them below in the description of the video. So at this point, I think goodbye for now.